Should I cut out the narcissist's family and friends? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Many people consult with me. They do so as a consequence of recognizing the excellence of my material and insight in the many books that I've written, the blog articles that I've composed, and the thousands of videos I've created about the subject of narcissism and psychopathy. They undertake a personal consultation because they require the guiding mind of the ultra to assist them in resolving problems with a narcissist. As many of you know, the appropriate response when you are finally able to realize that you're dealing with a narcissist is to obey the first golden rule of freedom, which is once you know, you go. You apply the principle of go-so. You get out, you stay out. That means that you either leave immediately or, as soon as you can, where perhaps you need to make some form of preparation, and impose a total no-contact regime in relation to the narcissist. You depart, and then you need to ensure that you stay out of the relationship in whatever form it manifested. This means that you need to ensure that the narcissist can't hoover you, thus optimizing your prospects of remaining away from them, and that you must reduce your own emotional thinking to ensure that you're not tempted to go back into the relationship. Even though many people make the escape, they can find themselves being drawn back in as a consequence of the manipulative hoovers of the narcissist, promises to change, use of threat, fear of physical violence and such like, and of course the fact that their own emotional thinking is working against them. Many people fail in relation to no contact because they simply don't understand how to implement it correctly. But amongst part of that is the question of what you do in relation to those friends and family of the narcissist. You may find yourself with this particular dilemma. You've been in a relationship for a considerable period of time with the narcissist. During that period of time, a friendship group has sprung up around you. They are mutual friends. You also have got to know the narcissist's family. Let's say it's a male narcissist. And you married him. You know his parents, his siblings, maybe even grandparents if they're still alive. And the problem that you're plagued with is these are decent people. You've got to know them. For instance, you have a fantastic relationship with the narcissist's mother. With his sister and brother, you become very close. That the friends that you've created, you really enjoy their company. But there is a connection because they are linked to the narcissist, and if you are meant to impose a total no-contact regime, then is it not the case that you must cut off your involvement with those people? Somehow it doesn't seem right, does it? Why should they suffer? Why should they be in effect tarred with the same brush as the narcissist and consigned to a no-contact regime? Why should you spoil what is a good and healthy relationship with them just because of the awful behavior of the narcissist? Why should you lose out, both of you, on a rewarding relationship? It isn't fair. Counsel of perfection would be that you would have nothing more to do with those appropriate friends or family members to avoid the risk of the narcissist using them to get to you. This would be the Hoover by proxy, whereby the narcissist coerces a friend or family member to get in touch with you on their behalf. Invariably, they will do this because they don't fully understand what has happened with regard to the breakdown of the relationship. They think it's sad that it has ended. They might even recognize that the individual who is the narcissist is at fault, or sometimes they simply aren't willing or able to apportion blame. But they are saddened by the demise of the relationship, and they want to see if they can help in order to get matters back on an even keel. Often, these well-intentioned friends and family members know nothing about narcissism, and the problem is that they approach the relationship by thinking, well, there's always problems in a marriage at some point. There are always ups and downs. It's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. and other trite observations which are not applicable to the narcissistic dynamic, but they believe that they are. The problem is that they approach you, and it is a breach of no contact as they talk about perhaps how upset the narcissist is. You feel guilty. They talk about their own upset about the demise of the relationship, which makes you even feel worse. You still hate the narcissist for what they've done, but this individual is an innocent bystander, and it upsets you to find that they're upset about what has gone wrong. They express their concerns about the loss of the relationship with you, that they feel that they've been made to be distant with you, or they fear that that's what might happen. And in the circumstances, they are saddened that a really good relationship they have stands to be spoiled. This, allied with your emotional thinking, causes you to feel guilty. You don't want them to be upset. You don't want to lose the relationship. It can lead to you thus resurrecting matters with the narcissist because your emotional thinking has caused you to want to preserve the relationship with the friend or family member. In other instances, it makes you feel guilty. You are feeling unpleasant about what's going on. You therefore maintain the relationship with the friend or family member, but you don't resurrect the relationship with the narcissist. But the problem you have there is a door is left open. Repeatedly, the family member talks about the narcissist to you, breach of no contact. They tell you what he or she has been doing, breach of no contact. They continue to plead the case of the narcissist, wearing you down, making you feel guilty, breach of no contact. Therefore, surely you should cut them out of your life to ensure that you are not subjected to such behaviours. The counsel of perfection is that is what you must do. To ensure that you have a total no-contact regime, it means certain sacrifices must be made. And even though you have a good relationship with that individual, if you want to totally ensure that you won't be hoovered by proxy, that you won't be made to feel guilty, that you won't receive repeated breaches of no contact, you have to cut off those individuals also. For some of you, that is something that you probably would think is intolerable. There is an alternative route, although bear in mind, of course, that this will weaken your total no-contact regime. The most effective thing to do to implement your total no-contact regime is to ensure that those individuals who have contact still with the narcissist are similarly cut out of your life. But if you're not willing to do that, what you must do is explain to those individuals that you have made a decision to end the relationship. You recognise that it may upset them, but it isn't going to change. That you want to continue to have a relationship with them, but a condition of doing so is that the narcissist is never spoken about. Naturally, you wouldn't refer to them as the narcissist because that individual family member may find that troublesome. Better just to explain that you can't have them talk about the relevant person. You explain that for your own well-being, you ask that they don't tell you about what that person is doing, that you don't convey message, that they don't convey message on behalf of that individual, that when you get together, that individual is not to be spoken about. Most people will respect that request. There may be occasions where they'll slip up and you'll have to remind them of the obligation that they agreed to. But you can get it so that you can maintain a relationship with that person, particularly where it's a good relationship that's worthwhile keeping, so long as they understand that anything to do with the narcissist ends with them and is never to be passed on to you. You must also show accountability for your behaviour by never asking them about the narcissist. Even though you might think that it's a harmless query, it is a breach of no contact. And thus, the most appropriate thing, in order to ensure the maximum of success, would be to cut those individuals out of your life. But where you're not willing to do so, then you need to set down certain terms, whereby they are told in no uncertain terms that for you to continue to have a meaningful relationship with them, the individual who is the narcissist must not be mentioned, must not be allowed to convey messages, must not be able to utilise the ongoing relationship in any shape or form. If they buy into that, and they abide by it, then your no-contact regime will hold up. Remember, there is a slight risk, though, that they may slip up, and therefore there'll be breaches, and you must be prepared for that. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.